UCL Fantasy is back, and in today's video I'll be giving you all the information that you need to know before selecting your final team for this game week in Fantasy UCL. Before we get into today's game week preview, please be sure to like and subscribe. The support does not go unnoticed. I will be posting UCL Fantasy content across the new season on my YouTube and on my Twitter, so if you are interested in that, be sure to stick around. My mini league code for UCL Fantasy is also on the screen right now, or you can click the link in the description. We're going to go through all the key data in this video and also my current draft. And let's get straight into it and begin with the clean sheet odds. All of these odds are according to Fantasy Football Pundit. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. And we'll begin with Sporting Lisbon. They have a 60% probability of keeping a clean sheet in game week 1. They face Kara Almaty, and if you are looking for some low price defenders, I think Sporting Lisbon is the way to go. Most of their defenders are around the 4.5 million mark, and with those amazing odds in game week 1, I think it is a very good idea to bring their players in. Moving on to Benfica versus Karabakh, or however you pronounce their name, playing on the Tuesday with a 57% probability of keeping a clean sheet. They are closely followed by Paris Saint-Germain, 50% versus Atalanta. Hakimi, he will be in many players' teams. He's virtually a winger against a weaker sides for Paris Saint-Germain, even though he is a defender. He plays very attacking, and he was a great pick in UCL Fantasy last season. Another surprising one at the top here is Olympiacos versus Paphos, the Cyprus side, with 48% probability of keeping a clean sheet. Following Olympiacos, we've got Real Madrid, Man City, Tottenham and Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan and Liverpool. Then PSV with a 33% probability versus Union SG. I think they're a Belgium side. Again, if you want to find some lower price and probably low owned players, PSV players may be the go-to. Near the bottom we have Kara Almaty, Karabakh, Marseille, Atalanta, Newcastle and Chelsea. So if you do have any of those players from those teams in your squad right now, maybe it is a good idea to remove them for those game week 1 games. Now those are the clean sheet odds. I think they are looking pretty reasonable at the moment, and we'll move on to the goal scoring odds. Kylian Mbappe leads the way with a 67% probability of scoring a goal in game week 1 versus Marseille at home, playing on the Tuesday. And I think for game week 2, Mbappe will also have the highest probability of scoring once again. Their second game is even easier in my opinion. Luis Suarez follows Mbappe, and I think Suarez is around the 5.5 million mark. So if you're looking for a really low price player to go alongside maybe an Mbappe and a Haaland, Luis Suarez is a go-to for me. 60% probability versus Kara Almaty. Pavlidis at 58%, he was a beast in the Club World Cup. Really good player fantasy-wise. I had him in my Club World Cup team for quite a few game weeks and he came up with quite a few goals as well. Harry Kane and Erling Haaland follow. Then it's Trincao of Sporting Lisbon. So Fantasy Football Pundit are really backing Sporting Lisbon going into game week 1. Galatasaray picks are also being backed very heavily. Osimhen and Icardi are around the top 10 for goal scoring odds. They are away to Frankfurt in game week 1. But overall there are some really interesting picks here. Some obvious ones and some different ones as well. And looking at these odds really does help me and hopefully you in picking my attacking and defensive options. Now that is all out of the way, we're going to move on to my first draft that I've made. Maybe very close to my final team selection as well. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe I do make a few tweaks, but we're going to move on to the team right now. I think my reasoning for most of these picks is being explained by the data we've already looked at. But beginning with my goalkeeper pairing, a pairing that rotate really well. They never play on the same day. And of course, in this format, you can make subs, so you want to have keepers playing on different days, ideally. And with Chevalier and the Galatasaray keeper, you do have that. The Galatasaray keeper is 4 million and he is a starting goalkeeper. And that is quite rare to find. And of course, Paris Saint-Germain's defence is very good. And Chevalier's price is quite low when comparing it to other elite goalkeepers. Of course, Donnarumma has moved to Man City in the summer transfer window. And Chevalier is taking his, so hopefully he does pick up a few points in Fantasy UCL. My backline is looking fairly template at the minute, my starting defenders anyway, with Dumfries, Hakimi, Gabriel and Pedro Porro. I think Dumfries and Hakimi always have a goal in them. They always seem to get at least one big chance in a game. Dumfries away to Ajax in game week 1. That's a favourable fixture for Inter Milan. And Hakimi at home to Atalanta. That does mean I'm doubling up on the Paris Saint-Germain defence. But I think it's worth it, especially having Hakimi, who can definitely get a few goal contributions. He certainly did in last year's edition of the UCL, and I can't see it being any different this season. My third defender is Gabriel of Arsenal. He is the best Arsenal asset for me. He definitely has the biggest attacking threat for Arsenal defenders. And of course, Arsenal are known for their defensive capabilities. They are very, very good defensively in the Premier League, of course. I think they have been the best defence for a couple of years running. So that does definitely promote the use of Arsenal defenders in UCL Fantasy. My fourth starting defender at the moment, Pedro Porro, at home to Villarreal, and Tottenham do have some great fixtures in their group. I think they have one of the easiest groups out of all of the teams in the UCL. I think I looked at the FDR, and Tottenham were amongst the best. Pedro Porro, again, he has an attacking threat, and I think Tottenham will have a strong UCL campaign. My sub-defender, of course, if one of these players do not pick up a haul, I will sub in Giancarlo Inacio of Sporting Lisbon. Really good clean sheet odds, as we saw earlier, and I think Inacio is Sporting Lisbon's best defender, around the 4.5 million mark. And in terms of value for money, I don't think you can get much better than Giancarlo Inacio. Now those are my defenders sorted. Let me know what you think of my draft so far. And we'll move into the midfield with Rafinha. He was the highest scoring Barcelona midfielder in the UCL last season. Barcelona's group is very good. And like Tottenham, I think they were the best team for FDR in the league phase. Newcastle away will be a tough game in Game Week 1. Going to Newcastle on a UCL night is a bit scary, but the quality Barcelona have in front of goal is outstanding, and it goes without saying Rafinha is a very good pick. Moving on to Elise, again a really hard game in Game Week 1, but following that for Bayern Munich, it does get a bit easier. Elise is a playmaker. He's involved in many goals for Bayern Munich, and it was either him or Harry Kane for me in this draft. I didn't want to double up on the Bayern Munich attack because of that really hard game in Game Week 1. But maybe moving forward, I will bring in Harry Kane, maybe when Mbappe's games get a bit harder. But I am happy with that Elise pick. And moving on to Simmons, again, Villarreal at home. New signing for Tottenham, a really bright signing. I can see him doing well. 19 goal involvements in 33 games in the Bundesliga last season for Xavi Simmons. And I think it is pretty important to have a Tottenham attacker in your team. And there isn't a plethora of those. So Xavi Simmons is the go-to for me. And my two midfielders on my subs at the moment is Anthony Gordon. Like I said with Rafinha, it's a hard game. But I think Newcastle may be the favourites for that game. That home advantage that they have is more than other teams would have at home, if you get what I mean. It will be a big night for Newcastle. I'm pretty confident that Gordon will be on pens for Newcastle with Isaac Levin. I'm not sure if their new striker is a penalty taker. I have to look into that. I think the second in line is Fabian Schär, the defender. And penalty takers are always a good bonus. And as you can see by my team so far, I am really fancying the English sides. And my second sub midfielder is Kevin De Bruyne, a bit of a rogue one here. 8 million price tag is quite high for De Bruyne, but coming into the best side in Italy, he's adding that quality, that experience. Again, a tough game in Game Week 1, but as I said, with quite a few other players, following that, it does get a bit easier. And with this league phase, you're always looking into the future. I assume that De Bruyne will be on most set pieces for Napoli. And with it being a bit of a rogue pick at only 4% ownership, if it does pay off, my rank will rise considerably. You're not going to win any fantasy football game by going template. So I think it is good to go a bit different in some scenarios. My first of three forwards is Mbappe. Really high goal scoring odds, the best of any player in UCL Fantasy. His goal scoring record is incredible, 87 in the past 2 seasons. And with a relatively easy start for Mbappe in the first few game weeks, I think he will be many people's captains. And I do feel like he's a must-have. I think that goes without saying anyways. But I do prefer him over the likes of Kane and Haaland. Now I did originally have Ousmane Dembele in this first draft / team selection video. However, the game has notified me that he is injured for this upcoming game week, so I've had to look elsewhere, and I've got two options here One at a similar price range to Ousmane Dembele, one a little bit cheaper, but they both come from the same club, Inter Milan, with Lautaro Martinez and Thuram. Although the latter option has got off to a better start in the Serie A so far this season, so I'm going to go for him. Luis Suarez, he's on pens. He's had a really good start to life at Sporting Lisbon. He came in to replace Gyökeres, who's moved on to Arsenal. And at a really low price tag, around 5.5 million, he is the best enabler in the game for me. He will definitely be victim to some price rises in the near future. Really easy game in Game Week 1. I feel like the team they are facing is the worst side in the tournament. Suarez got 39 goal involvements for Almeria, I think in the Spanish first or second division last season. And he's already got 4 goal involvements for Sporting Lisbon in 5 games in the Portuguese league this season. And I do think he will be a very popular pick as we get closer to that deadline. And there is my team. Let me know what you think of it. If there is anything you think I should alter, be sure to let me know. But that does conclude today's video. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching today's video and good luck in Game Week 1.